Fantastic. Okay, I think we've probably got everybody on. A nice lot of people on the call this evening, which is great. So as you all know already, because we've put it on the promotion for the call, we're speaking about neighbour letters this evening, and we're talking to Mike Mount, who is a team leader in the business. How many customers have you overall, Mike?
73.
73 customers. I knew it was very, very close to the mini. So that's obviously just around the corner, which is amazing. And you're also pushing for senior team leader. And when I say pushing, it's a very, very active push. And
Yep.
you are putting it out there and saying you are going to do everything you can to get it done by Express Day. So best of luck with that. And obviously, neighbour letters is something that you are using to help you get there even quicker. So we just wanted to talk particularly about the fact that you're having such good success at the moment with neighbour letters. So just for anybody on the call who hasn't actually done neighbour letters or doesn't actually know, obviously it's fairly obvious from the title what it is, but how we actually do it in Utility Warehouse. So I'm just going to go through that first. Basically, we can't actually knock on somebody's door and just speak to them about what we do, because that's technically cold calling and that's sort of against the rules of Utility Warehouse. But if we do drop a letter first and tell them that we're coming back to have a chat with them, then that's absolutely fine. Having said that, there are certain neighbour letters that have been approved by the company, so you do have to make sure that if you're doing it, you are using one of the letters that's on the portal. And essentially you drop the letter, you can print them all off. I think it's a very good idea to put them in an envelope that's marked from your neighbour, because I think it's highly likely that somebody's going to open that, especially if it's handwritten. It'll look like something that's either that they've done something wrong and you're complaining about something, or perhaps you're having a party or a bonfire or something. So usually people will open it, intrigued to see what's inside. And then about, I don't know, a day, 2 days later, once they've had a chance to read it, you go back and follow up by knocking on the door and just having a little chat with them. If you just drop the neighbour letters and don't go and follow up, I'd be surprised if you ever got an appointment at all from doing neighbour letters. Although I'm sure it has happened, because there are obviously occasions when somebody does actually just ring you. But it's very, very rare. So the idea is you drop the letters, a couple of days later, you go and follow them up and you book the appointment, and then obviously you go back at a suitable time for both of you. So as I said, Mike's been having great success with this recently, and actually you've attributed, you think, probably your last 40 Daffy Gold customers to neighbour letters. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
Great. Okay, so I mean, take us back to the beginning. How did you feel when somebody first suggested to you that it might be a good idea that you tried neighbour letters?
I liked the idea of it, but every single time I went to get out of the house to actually do them, I would find myself actually wanting to do something else to not get out of the house.
Yeah.
So even if all the cleaning had been done, I'd still try and find something to clean so that I didn't actually have to leave the house.
I know that feeling. I do that a lot. Okay, so and I know you obviously made the decision to get out there. You were going to give it a go. Other people had been having a lot of success with it. I think you were on the neighbour letter group, the mastermind group, Facebook group, and you'd seen lots of other people doing really, really well with it. So yep. What were your results when you first went out? Did you go out and just smash it?
Oh yeah, every single door I knocked on, I got an appointment, and they were a Daffy straight away. No, as soon as I started, it was so bad. I was knocking on doors and all I kept getting was no's. That is all I kept getting. And I knew there was something that I wasn't doing right, because the amount of neighbour letters I was doing, I was probably doing about 200 a week, but I was getting hardly any appointments whatsoever. So I absolutely sucked at it.
So what did you do to turn that around? Obviously you're having success now. How did you go from there to where you are now?
Well, what I'd done was I spoke to a few people, but one thing I did, obviously yourself being my upline, I just got hold of you and I said to you, what am I doing differently to everyone else? Or is there something that I'm doing wrong or whatnot? From what I told you, you said there wasn't really anything that I was doing wrong, but you'd come out with me just to show me like how it was done, kind of. So I had that day with you where I went out and done stuff, and then I realised there was one thing that I could change, And that was to not let them have an answer to every question that I was asking them, basically.
Okay, cool. So just explain that in a little bit more detail, because I think that's quite a key point.
Yeah. So when you're asking them, like, would saving money benefit them, and they say yes, and then they try and give an explanation afterwards, oh, well, it's not really for me or whatnot. As soon as they've said yes or no, whatever they say, just try and kind of butt in there so that they can't give you an explanation, just so you can get on to the next bit and kind of give them a bit more detail about what you do as such. Just so they don't close the door in your face, because the thing is, so many people just want to close the door in your face straight away. But if you can just get chatting to them, you've got more of a chance of securing an appointment.
So it's more just steering them down the path that you want them to go down,
Yeah.
rather than allowing them to take control of the conversation.
Yeah, so just leading them to the answers that you want them to give.
Cool. So, I mean, in all honesty, I think it doesn't really matter which letter you use. What matters is that you're out there actually doing it. But just tell us, which letter is it that you use?
So it's nice and simple. I'll just read it as it is because it's quite short. So it says, "Dear neighbour, our names are Michael Mount and Michelle Vincent, and we live locally. We're helping people to reduce their energy costs through a discount club. It's free to join, and most people in our area are saving up to £300 a year. We'll pop back soon to see if you'd like to know more. Best wishes, Michael Mount and Michelle Vincent."
Fantastic. And just to double check, that's the unbranded one, isn't it? So there's no logos or anything on there.
No, there's no logos. There's no mention of utility warehouse or anything on there at all.
Okay. And is that because you're really embarrassed that you're working with Utility Warehouse?
No, not at all. I'm proud that I'm working with them, but also you don't want to put that on the letter, because as soon as they see it's about utilities, they already have a no lined up for you as soon as you knock on their door.
Okay, so you're just creating a little bit of intrigue, and sometimes they actually want to know what you're talking about when you come back. Do you ever get people saying, "Oh, actually, I'm glad you popped by because I did see that letter and I was quite interested to see"?
Yeah, so I get so many people that say that as soon as I pop by, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember that letter. What exactly are you doing?" Or
Okay,
something
so
along
you
those
think
lines.
that if they knew too much from the letter originally, then it probably wouldn't have been something they'd want to actually have a conversation about.
No, because I find that when people know what it is you're doing, they search it up on the internet and
Yeah.
they think they know it all themselves.
This is the same problem we have in general, isn't it, really? Which is one of the reasons why when we're getting started, we don't reveal too much, because what you really want to be doing is getting people in front of that presentation.
Exactly that.
Cool. Okay. So again, the main point is just going and actually doing the follow-up. But what script do you use?
So I've kind of just tailored one. It's just a nice short one, but I've just kind of tailored it to my own personality, because I think if you make it personable, you might say.
Do you want it? Shall I open the door?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
With my scary face.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you start.
Oh, hi. Hi. Who are you?
Hi there. My name's Mike. I live just down the road or around the corner from you, depending on whereabouts you live. And I was just popping back because I popped this letter through your door, and I was just wondering whether you'd seen it at all.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So basically, I've just been helping all my neighbours just reduce down their household bills for completely free. And I was just wondering whether saving money would benefit you at all.
Well, sort maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Basically, as I said, all I'm doing is helping my neighbours, but I'm doing it for completely free. I just pop round, so I'm just booking in short 15-minute appointments where I'd come around and see you at a more convenient time, show you a little bit about what I do, and then give you a completely free quote. When works best for you?
Okay. Evenings usually.
Yep, perfect. I'll get that in the diary.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much. So, do you ever get people just sort of not wanting to sort of entertain the conversation at all, or does everybody generally have a conversation with you, even if they don't end up booking an appointment?
They have a conversation with me whether they like it or not. I get a lot of people that don't particularly want to have a conversation with me, and that's simply for the fact that they think I'm doing it there and then. So if you literally just answered them with, "I'm not doing anything today, I'm just booking in short 15-minute appointments," it just puts them at ease and it relaxes them. And then you've got more chance of booking that appointment.
Okay, cool. I know you've got a couple of tricks that you sort of use to get a bit of better rapport, like, for instance, the way that you stand. Can you just share them with us?
So I know this sounds a bit silly, but whenever I knock on a door, I always stand at kind of like a 45-degree angle to the door, because then you're not straight in someone's face and they can still see you, if that makes sense.
Just putting them at ease and making them not
Yeah,
feel that you're kind of trying to push away into their house.
yeah, exactly that.
Any other little tips?
Um, oh, I don't actually carry a clipboard or a backpack or anything like that. I try not to wear anything black because that looks too salesy. So you kind of look like a salesman if you do that. The one thing I do though, I don't know whether you can see this, but I have actually laminated my letter
Okay.
so that when I go back, it actually looks professional as well. But
Okay.
also, the other reason why is because if it rains, you can't get out of following up.
That's a very good tip. Well done. Cool. So you've told us already that you get on average one appointment for every 4 people that you speak to, which is obviously pretty high in comparison to even some of the most successful people who are doing neighbour letters. So what do you think that it actually is that's giving you that edge?
I'm just, I don't know, I just make it very personable, and I smile. I'm just happy on the door. I kind of just chat to them basically. I kind of try and make it not like a script and just try and get to know them a little bit on the door, and just try and make them laugh. Because if you make someone laugh, they fall into your hands straight away.
Okay. And do you still get nervous when you go out?
Uh, I want to say no, but for the sake of the video, I will say yes, because some.
You can
But,
be honest.
I don't anymore, simply because I've done it so many times. So
Okay.
I actually can't wait to get out the door now. Whereas before, I would just absolutely brick it, and I wouldn't want to go out at all. And as I said, I always find something to do. Even if there's nothing to do, I'd always try and find something to do, just so I didn't have to go and do it.
Okay, so
But
when you used to be in that situation then, because obviously a lot of people on the call tonight are probably in that situation where they may have tried it a few times, they may not have even tried it at all. But when you used to have that feeling, I mean, it's happened to me so many times. You think you get up in the morning, oh, well, I sort of plan it and I think, oh yeah, on Monday I'm going to do my neighbour letter follow up, and I'm quite excited about it until Monday comes, and then Monday's there, and then I'm like, oh, I just don't know if I actually just want to really go and do this. So what did you do? Or what did you have anything that kind of like pushed you out the door that made you go and do it, even though it was kind of like, feel the fear and do it anyway. You knew you were a bit of afraid of it, but what made you actually get out the door and do it?
Well, you say push me out the door. I had Michelle there pushing me out the door, but no, it all goes back to the one thing why we all joined the business. It's exactly why we do the business. So I always thought, I can't be scared of this because I know why I want to do this, and I'm going to do exactly that. So, because at the end of the day, if you don't have appointments, you can't build your business, and that's the thing. So I always just thought about in my head why I'm doing it, and that was enough to get me out the door, because I'm very passionate about my why.
Excellent. And I know now you're actually trying to duplicate that down into the team. So how are you helping your team, the ones that want to try neighbour letters, how are you helping them?
So when they've posted all their letters and whatnot, what I will do is I'll go and spend an hour with them or something, just going over that and following up with them. So I will knock on the first. It's like doing supported appointments. You do the first few for them, they do the next few. I do the first few doors for them, and then they do the few after that with me standing in the background. So it just gives them that support. If they mess up or anything like that, they've got something to fall back on.
Okay. Now, what would you say to somebody who just perhaps they're fairly new and they've done their warm list or they've done their first supported appointments and they're thinking neighbour letters? They can see that it's successful, but they don't think it's for them. It's a bit too uncomfortable. What would you say to them?
I would say just give it a go anyway, because you don't, unless you try everything in this business, you don't know what's going to work for you. Because I always used to do WAMs and I thought they were fantastic. They always worked for me, but I always put myself off doing neighbour letters. I then got into doing neighbour letters, and now I've got much better results than what I had at WAMs. So I tend not to do WAMs anymore, just for that purpose.
Interesting. Okay. And what would you say to somebody who's tried neighbour letters a few times but hasn't actually got any results to speak of and is thinking, oh, either it's me or it doesn't work or whatever, and I'm gonna give up doing them?
Just get in contact with your upline is all I can say. Speak to them over the phone. If you want to practice what you're saying on the door to them, because then they might be able to find something that you're not saying, or you're just saying you're missing out something or whatnot. Because that's what I did with Michelle. I spoke to her, and I'd do my script on her, and she would always tell me if I was missing anything out or whatnot, or if I could improve on something and do it better. So, because the thing is, when you're at the door, you don't listen to what you're saying, you just say it. Whereas an outsider will be able to tell you exactly what you're saying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so a lot of when we quite often do calls like this, a lot of things that get discussed are things like, you know, how long do you leave it before following up? What streets do you do? What do you put on the letter? You know, do you put your telephone number on there or your address, or don't you? What do you say if you live in a road that's a few roads away from where you're doing? All those sorts of questions. And I don't know if you agree with me, but I kind of feel like it's actually a good idea not to address those, because actually all of that is completely irrelevant. What's relevant is getting out there, getting it done, and being smiley and happy and open and professional and approachable on the doorstep, and just creating those conversations. At the end of the day, it's your neighbours. So you just want to act like a neighbour, a professional one, but act like a neighbour, and just get to know the people in your area, however far away they are from you. They're still within your, you know, even if they're just in the same county, at least, you know, it's just about getting to know people and opening up new conversations. Would you agree with that?
It's exactly that, because this is a relationship business. So, you know, whether you're building a relationship with your neighbour, your friends, people that you just meet in like restaurants, like waitresses and whatnot, there's loads of different ways of meeting people. It's just building the relationships with them.
Fantastic. Okay, and just to wrap up then, Mike, what would you say is your biggest neighbour letter tip?
I haven't thought of that. Just all I can say is just go out and do it. That's all I can say, because the thing is, if you don't follow up at the end of the day, you're not going to get any results, and that's it. One way I can put it is, just imagine you're posting a £350, like every letter is a £350 note, and the only way to get that from that door into your bank account is to go and speak to that person.
That's such a good idea. I think that's a fantastic tip. You've inspired me. I'm going to go out. I'm actually going out with one of my team members tomorrow morning, so I'm going to get into the swing of it tomorrow, and then I will go and do some for myself later on in the month, because I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer, isn't it? In general, the conversion rate of customers, I think, is higher, apart from referrals, is higher than any other way of getting appointments and customers in the business, as far as I understand it from the success that you see on the Neighbour Letter group. So it's kind of one of those things where you sort of think, if I want more, I've got to go out and get more and do more. So perhaps Neighbour Letters is the way.
Yeah. I will just say as well, my mine and Michelle's top referrer in this business is actually from a Neighbour Letter.
Wow. Okay.
So he referred his whole family and his friends, and he's our top referrer. And I will say also, you can recruit from Neighbour Letters, because I've done it multiple times as well.
Fantastic. That's funny, actually, because it was the one question I meant to ask you that I'd forgotten about. So just touch on that a little bit for me. So is that something that was mentioned on the doorstep, or did you just follow exactly the same script, end up having an appointment, and then just show the business exactly as you would normally?
This was actually an appointment. So I booked the appointment in with them. I just went straight into their house, basically, after I'd said to them what I was doing. I signed them up as a customer, and then they were also very interested in seeing the partner side of things as well. So I got them signed up as a partner. Sorry, light's gone off again. So yeah, I showed them the partner side of things. They loved it. They wanted to sign up as a partner. And I will just say, they did ask me whether Neighbour Letters was the only way to do the business. But once I explained it to them, they were like, oh yeah, let's give it a go then.
Okay, so it's probably key then, the fact that that you got the appointment through Neighbour Letters. It's key to make sure that they realise that there are lots of different ways to do it, in case Neighbour Letters is something that at that point might put them off.
Yeah, because the thing is, no matter how you recruit someone, whether it's on a WAM, whether it's a referral, whether it's a Neighbour Letter, the way that you recruit them is exactly how they're going to think the business is done. So you've just got to clear up with them that there's many other ways of doing it if they feel uncomfortable the way that you've done it.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, fantastic, Mike. Thank you so much. I think you've really inspired a lot of us, hopefully, and many more as we recorded it as well. So I hope everybody's going to go out and have a fantastic week full of Neighbour Letters. Go and recruit loads of people from Neighbour Letters, and see us back here at 8:30 next Sunday evening for our fast start call. So thanks again, Mike. It's really, really helpful to have you on the call, and I hope everybody goes and has a really, really good week. See you next week.
See you later.
Thanks, Mike. Bye.
Bye. Bye.